Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for uh, 43 years. I'm going through the lessons again this year. I haven't done that in a long time. And I'm asking Jesus for clarity like I always do, and then I write from that clarity. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. So we're reading Lesson 71. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Jesus has been talking about grievances for a while now. He tells us that love created us like itself and that love holds no grievances. He tells us that forgiveness is our only function as the light of the world and that grievances hide this light. Yesterday, he encouraged us to accept that our salvation comes from within and cannot be gained without. He told us that guilt is a problem and is an invention of our own mind. We will not save ourselves by finding the guilt elsewhere. Today, he becomes very specific about grievances. We're told this: each grievance you hold is a declaration and an assertion in which you believe that says, if this were different, I would be saved. The change of mind necessary for salvation is thus demanded of everyone and everything except yourself. What a perfect plan this is if your goal is to fail to find salvation. And that is the ego's plan. Seek and do not find. Most of us, if not all of us, followed this plan until we found the course. And speaking for myself, it has taken a long time for me to shift plans to one that works. God's plan is just the opposite. Of course it is. It would have to be the opposite of ego's plan if that one is designed specifically to guarantee failure. The ego says that if I can just change someone else or some situation, then everything would be all right. I would be saved. God says that only his plan will work. It will work because we are seeking a change where the problem lies. We are to forgive the idea of grievances altogether. It will work if we make no exceptions. That's the part that I got tripped up on for such a long time. I would forgive the grievances as they became obvious to me, but then there would be one that I just couldn't see past. It was usually something like, but he really did it to me. That thought was like a wall I couldn't scale. Eventually, though, I got tired of suffering and accepted that God was right and I was wrong. Good grief. It is hard to believe it took me years to come to that conclusion, but here I am now on the other side of that wall. And when I look back, it just wavers out of existence. It existed only in my mind where all grievances exist. The ego doesn't give up, though. It is like a glitchy computer program. It can only do what it is programmed to do, which is to guarantee failure. So it continues to offer me the same old solutions that don't really work. They didn't work before and they won't work now. Occasionally, I fall for it briefly. What I always do is to look for the belief behind the temptation. For instance, if I become insulted by someone's opinion of me, I see that I still question my worth. I ask for correction of that perception. I am reminded of this passage. Your worth is not established by teaching or learning. Your worth is established by God. Thinking that the problem lay with the person who said something to me is what the ego calls a win. The words coming from that other person, well, that's just noise until I decide what it means. If I decide it means I'm being insulted, it seems the one saying them is the problem, and they need to quit doing that. But if I decide it means they must be having a difficult day, I can be their solution as I silently bless them. In the first instance, I temporarily get some satisfaction from seeing the other person as a problem. But nothing is solved, and the problem continues to occur in different forms. Recognizing the problem as my fear of not being worthy leads me to a solution that ends that problem permanently. I felt both ways at different times. The difference now is that I recognize that it is an interpretation, which puts all the power in my own hands. I can question my interpretation with the Holy Spirit guiding me and have a different experience. The interpretation can be different because I healed the belief in unworthiness, or at least I healed it to a great degree. Each time I feel unworthiness, I go straight to forgiveness. And so the veil disguising my worthiness gets thinner and thinner. God's plan for your salvation will work and other plans will not. Ask Him very specifically, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say and to whom? Give Him full charge of the rest of the practice period and let Him tell you what needs to be done by you in His plan for your salvation. He will answer in proportion to your willingness to hear His voice. Refuse not to hear. The very fact that you're doing the exercises proves that you have some willingness to listen. This is enough to establish your claim to God's answer. That's what I did before I wrote this. Thank you so much for joining me in this reading. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, then please like it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And I'll be back soon with another reading. See you then.